Good evening. Still not working? Hello, everyone. You can hear me now? Good. Welcome to Davidson United Methodist Church. My name is Kevin Turner. I'm the Minister of Music and Worship here, and we're delighted that you're here to hear some great music. The Carolina Brass Quintet and Tom Robak. We at Davidson have had over a decade relationship with Carolina Brass, and we're always thrilled to have them in worship, but for the last 2 years, we've tried to extend that to these types of concerts. So if you like these things, remember you didn't pay to park, okay? And at the end of the concert, there'll be little buckets that you can put some love into it if you would like to have them come back. They've already been paid for tonight, but if you want them to come back again, please put some money in there. Or if you didn't like it, you can put a note in it and I'll pass it along. So, as always, remember to turn your cell phones off. The restrooms, the women's room is kind of off this way, and the men's room is off that way. I think that's about it. It is being live streamed, so welcome to those of you who are joining us live online. So consider that before you do anything that you wouldn't want to have broadcast on the live stream. So, all that said, please welcome the Carolina Brass Quintet with Tom Robak.
it's a different kind of fun. Playing in the orchestra on stage it's a different challenge. It's a different level of enjoyment on a different wavelength. But when you do this stuff, when you play chamber music, when you play solo music, when you get to play with people like Mr. Tomasz Robak here, it challenges you in such a specific way, and having these conversations, these musical conversations between 2 or 5 or 6 people, it's at least as much fun for us up here as it is for you out there. So thank you for indulging us with that. That first piece you heard was by Bach. It's from the Art of Fugue. It's Contrapunctus No. 9. We love playing Bach on brass instruments, but it wasn't written for brass instruments, it was written for the organ. And as well as Tom plays the piano tonight, he is equally good as an organist. So maybe one day we'll get to show you that. Tom and I are going to play a couple of pieces for you now. This first one is by Abbott, who's a horn player in England. I almost said English horn player, but that means something different. He's a horn player that lived in England, and very successful orchestral horn player. It's just a short, fun piece, lots of colors. Hope you enjoy it. Cold, the soda's cold, and it's hot, and the water condensates. That's what's happening on the inside of our instruments. It's not spit, I promise. Okay. It's not spit, it's just water. I wouldn't drink it, but it is water. Not all that many years ago, he's recently retired, a man named Laurence Lowe was the horn professor at Brigham Young University and played in many orchestras throughout the United States, was a sought-after soloist, fantastic musician. And he wrote a horn sonata. I think he wrote a couple of horn sonatas, but this is the first one. It's the second movement. It's a very touching movement. It's called Elegy, and he wrote it in dedication to his brother who died as a teenager. And we in the symphony, and those of us in the quintet and Tom as well, have had a very personal loss recently as well, a couple indeed. But one of them in the orchestra, we lost our principal timpanist, Jacob Lipham, just a month ago. And we would like to dedicate this performance to Jacob.
I should have done this sooner.
Great. Awesome. Bet you can hear me loud and clear now. Hi, everybody. My piece, solo performance, will be Théo Charlier's solo, the Concours. This was, if you translate it, it's just, competition solo. Théo Charlier is actually very important for us as trumpet players because one of the main books that we play out of is his 36 Transcendental Etudes. They're very, very, very beautiful, very difficult, very, very much on the face. This one has a lot of elements of that, but it's just a little bit sweeter. I found out only recently that he actually wrote a second of these solo de concours, and it is significantly harder. I think he finally realized that maybe trumpets could do more than 1 in 5. But nonetheless, please enjoy Charlier's solo de concours.
Hello? Okay. All right, how about that? Jeez, that's awesome. Yeah. There's a reason Byron and Alex are the two head honchos of the brass section over in Charlotte Symphony, so really great stuff. I'm going to play tonight a couple of unaccompanied Baroque string pieces for you guys. The first one originally written for cello, the second written for violin. I really like playing music like this. It has a really introspective quality about it that I find really appealing. You can just like play it on and kind of uncover new mysteries, new details. It's kind of meditative in a sense. And if you just look at the sheet music, you might think that it's rather mechanical, but in fact, there is a lot of really exciting bits of humanity and beauty kind of buried in that you get to search for, so it's really nice. There's a lot of things that cellists and violin players can do that a tuba, you might be surprised, can't do. But I would contend that there's also a lot of things that I can do that they can't. So if you guys are familiar with this style of music or these pieces, if you hear anything, I'd love to hear what you guys think. So I hope you guys enjoy.
think I got it, okay. I just thought I'd say a word of hello, first of all. I am very happy to be here again. I had the pleasure of doing this collaboration last year in July as well. So very grateful to get to do it again and to see so many familiar faces. As a resident of Davidson, it's especially fun for me to be here and see some neighbors and friends in the audience. So thank you for being here. Just a couple of words about this next piece. This is the second nocturne from Chopin's Opus 15. The opus was composed in between around 1830 to 1833, so Chopin would have been about 21, 22. And in this opus, he finally kind of really comes into his own as a melodist in the style of the nocturne, which features kind of sweeping accompaniment in the left hand and beautiful melodic material in the right hand, complete with Italian opera-inspired, for lack of a better word, doodles. They're called fiorituras, but you'll hear them that they're quite fancy and they decorate the melody, and so everything is very elegant and quite beautiful. So as an addition to this already so beautiful and elegant program, I thought Chopin would be a nice addition. Plus, I haven't played Chopin yet as a Polish pianist, and in Davidson, I've never played Chopin in Davidson. Would you believe that? So this is my first time doing it here. Obviously not the first time playing Chopin in general, but so glad to do it. Hope you enjoy.
Hopefully that's working. No, it's not. It's the wrong one. I'm sure this is very simple. I'm sure this is, there we go. Hello, everyone. What an amazing array of musicians. Let's give it up again for Tom. Tom is an amazing pianist. So I'm surrounded by my young colleagues, and they do amazing things with such things like musical integrity, beautiful musical integrity, and amazing, instrumental technique. At my age, I'm pretty much holding it together with smoke and mirrors. That's what I have, so that's what we're going to go with today. The trombone is an instrument of almosts. We almost have a concerto by Beethoven. It was by a contemporary of his, Wagenseil. We almost have a concerto by Mozart. It was Leopold Mozart, not Wolfgang. We almost have a concerto by Mendelssohn. It was his friend Ferdinand David who was the concertmaster of his orchestra. So we always have almost kind of things happening for the trombone when it comes to concertos and things. But this next piece was written by Camille Saint-Saëns, which is a name that everybody is familiar with. And in fact, he only wrote this one single piece for trombone. This piece is named Cavatine. And I'm going to go ahead and take off my jacket so my lovely boutonniere does not get in the way. played a piece. So I've now played a piece by a composer who people know, Camille Saint-Saëns, but nobody probably knows that trombone piece. If you had heard it before, then bravo, that's your second time of hearing it probably. But he didn't write any other pieces for trombone. This next one, on the other hand, is a piece that everyone's going to know. It is from the opera Turandot, and, well, I'll leave it at that. I think you'll know this one.
While the rest of my brass colleagues are getting set up, this next tune is my fault. Victor Ewald was actually, he composed basically as his side gig. You know, he grew up and lived in St. Petersburg, and he actually was essentially attributed to like the founding father of modern like cement and bricklaying. Crazy enough, he was huge in architecture and the whole 9 yards. Victor Ewald wrote 4 brass quintets for us. This is the first movement of his 4th quintet, which what's really interesting about this is Ewald also played cello. And as you'll hear, there's a lot of, to the best of our abilities on our brass instruments, it's very string-like in the way it's written. And a fun, really interesting fun fact that I find really particularly interesting about this particular piece is that this whole quintet was actually the outline of what became his Opus 1, which was a string quartet. And so when you look at the years that these pieces were composed, his 4th quintet, quote unquote, was written 10 to 20 years before his 1st quintet. So it's a very beautiful piece. I had to bring one of my auxiliary horns for this because it's kind of up there, but it's a beautiful piece. We are very indebted to Victor Ewald for all of his contributions, the 4, to the brass world. So without further ado, here is the first movement of Victor Ewald's 4th brass quintet.
So the group that you see here, the Carolina Brass, is it's a storied group. I mean, there's such a history, a rich history behind not only the members of the current group, but also there's a history behind this group existing in Davidson. And we're very lucky tonight, actually, to have a few of the founding members of the Carolina Brass. My very good friend and colleague, Frank Bortone, of course, was the principal horn player of the Charlotte Symphony Orchestra for many years. Thank you for coming along, Frank. And of course, my other good friend, Bill Lowe, has played trumpet literally only up until last year, I think, with the ensemble, and will probably play with the ensemble again because Bill's not slowing down at all in his retirement in terms of his trumpet playing. Yes, indeed. I was saddened to find out during the course of this year that one of the other founding members of the ensemble, David Mills, was a close friend of mine and a colleague, certainly a colleague to me when I joined the Charlotte Symphony back in 2005, and he just recently passed away and was very close to these guys, and I was hoping maybe Bill might be able to offer a bit of perspective in terms of the man, the legend, David Mills, the tuba player.
Thank you, Tom. Yes, the legend, absolutely. I think a nice way to segue to David is to take a moment just to say to you, I think you already know this, but I do want to underscore it. You're listening to a really fabulous recital tonight. You're just not going to hear a recital like this. These are some symphony musicians who live in a world that has a comfort level that is sort of stripped away when one turns into a quintet, and especially when one turns into soloists. And you won't, in New York or in Boston or wherever you go, you're not going to find a great group of symphonic musicians who are going to say, let's do a set of a combined brass quintet and solo recital and call it fun. But you can tell somehow they're having fun all the way through. And Alex said before the Ewald, you have me to blame, and you heard what they then had to do, and again, they call it fun. And one other thing, this is July. Their summer season ended 2.5 weeks ago. Yeah, and so they have from early July to September to relax, to put the horn down and not really worry about these things for a while. And what do these guys do? They use the time to put together a crazy hard recital that they're doing quite beautifully. So just can't believe it. So when we started the quintet, it was 1980, and I think what was important for us then is something that these guys have maintained and even surpassed, which was most of the guys in the group were symphonic musicians. I was a college teacher with still very much symphony sort of head and chops, and we really wanted to play quintet music, but we also wanted to be a recital group. And that's something that I know as these guys began to come into the group and I began to see myself leaving the group, that I did say to them, I hope that you can continue to be a recital group. And I'm so really excited to be, I miss this. I miss being up there, but I'm still very excited to hear what these guys are doing. And I know it continues this wonderful legacy. And David is sort of the heart and soul of this legacy. Frank and I can remember the early days whenever we would travel, and we would try to travel a good deal, we would always go in David's Volkswagen bus. So now a lot of you are old enough to remember what a Volkswagen bus was, right? Not the Vanagon or whatever, but that thing that looked like it would fall down if you blew on it. And it was quite a messy little thing, but it could get all 5 of us and his dog Pasha. And wherever we went, we were with David and Pasha, and that never really changed all the way through. And David stayed in the quintet for 20 to 25 years, then transitioned away and continued to play in the symphony for a while, and then stopped playing in the symphony, continued as the librarian. So he had his fingers in the music all the way through, and he was a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful player. And if you back until, well, let's say through about 2010, if you went to symphony concerts, you would know David. He's sort of easy to picture. Of course, he's playing the tuba, and so that's sort of an easy memory. But sort of very, we can say full cheeks, round face, a mop of curly hair, and wire glasses, always sort of looking up and always smiling. I don't think you can ever find a picture of David Mills without a big, broad smile on his face. And I think that's probably the greatest memory of David, is that he gave so much joy and pleasure to everybody he was around all the time. And he grew up in Albemarle, and he had this wonderful, good old Southern boy facade, and he was able to mix very well in any number of crowds, but always with incredible humor. David was full of jokes, most of which never can be told in mixed company, but they were funny, I will tell you. But you know these people who always laugh at their own jokes? David was one who, about one line before the punchline, David would break out into laughter. So you can imagine he's always telling jokes, and then he's laughing at his own jokes, so that when one thinks of David Mills, one thinks of somebody with a ton of humor and just a great sense of life. And even though he died about 5 weeks ago, the sense of David and his life and his being so much alive is certainly with me, and is just sort of in my mind, it sort of fills this place, even if he's not here to do it. And I know at some point in this concert, at some point, if he had been here and everybody was clapping, David would just have said, "Yeah!" Something along that line, right? I can't do it well enough, but something along that line. So I want to thank you all for continuing this great musical tradition, and for wanting to take a moment to say something about David, who really was special for me, special for you, and special for music in Charlotte for a very, very long time.
we're going to end off with Enrique Crespo's Suite Americana, 2 selections. It's a really fun one. So Enrique Crespo, he was born in Brazil. He was a longtime member of German brass, which is one of the, if not the premier brass ensemble in the world. So he was a tremendous, tremendous trombone player, in addition to being a really excellent composer. This one is, I think it's genuinely a real masterpiece of the brass quintet repertoire. And I think in art music, if you are able to write something that has something of interest for both like the casual listener, the aficionado, the player, I think it's so difficult to hit on all 3 fronts to where just truly anybody can really enjoy, like, you know, at the bottom of it, it's just like really fun music, but there's also like, you dig in more and there's like all this compositional brilliance, and everyone has a great chance to shine. There's lots of fun solos. So the piece itself is sort of a tour of dance and song music across all the Americas. So South America, of course, where he's from, Central America, and North America as well. The 2 movements we're going to play are going to be a bossa nova and then a sort of Mexican song and dance to close things out. This is our last piece, so we really want to thank you guys for coming out. We really love playing up here at Davidson, putting on these concerts for you guys. It's really, really, really fun, and I think I can speak for everyone in saying that we're all just so appreciative for you guys to come out and hear us play, whether it's at recitals like these or at the services we play throughout the year. So thank you so much for supporting us, coming out, and we hope you enjoy this last one. Thank you.